morning.
Let's go. Happy Friday to everybody, and welcome back to another Nudelberg Daily Huddle, where we get to start the day with you and kicking into the right direction.
I must say, you sound wonderful.
Thank you. You know what? And it turns out we're figured out the echo, and now we are 2 days in a row with no echoes. So the audio is as good as it's ever going to get, guys. So if you don't like it now,
I would imagine
you can
listening
leave.
to echo is not worth listening to.
Well, I
Like,
mean,
I
the
would turn
first
it
thing
off.
Michelle Podorf said yesterday was like, your audio is much better. So
like that must be really hard, like a little torture thing. Anyway, Fridays has quickly become my favorite show day. We get to, explore conversations with other leaders, rainmakers, if you will. And today we got a doozy.
yeah, cannot wait to have Kim Sarni on the show. I kind of felt like when I came down in 2019, feel like I took the market by storm a little bit. Like I was out, I was meeting people, I was trying to like build my own, my own presence.
When
Which
you
was
say
difficult.
blow smoke up your own ass,
Following you, it's difficult. And obviously, I think I had a little bit of help because people already knew the name. And I feel like Kim came in after me and just completely torched any thought I had that I had done it fast or done it well, because I think Kim did it in an unbelievable fashion. So super excited to have her on the show.
Look at the fan you have in Jonathan.
Yeah, Jonathan Aarons is the best, man. I love Jonathan.
I will tell you, not for nothing, the guy's pumping out amazing content.
Yeah,
it's this is thought leadership. He is taking things that are in his mind and putting them in a nugget and sharing them. So great job. I got to see. So I've watched Kim take the market by storm for sure. I agree, and I'm enamored by it as a networking professional, somebody who's written about it and built my whole career around it. We just had we got together on Monday night, and it was like, how the hell did you do that, man? Like, wow, man. Like every time you turn around, Kim Sarni. I was like, do you know Kim Sarni? Yes, I know Kim Sarni. So, as a matter of fact, so we saw her Monday night. Then I saw her yesterday. The reason why I was not on the show was my commitment to junior achievement, and that is a sampling of the board who showed up live yesterday. We are doing fantastic stuff, I must tell you, and maybe Kim will share further. I've been on that board a long time. We are doing some amazing, amazing things in the community for kids, and it is so terrific to be part of that group. It's so energizing. So we're going to get to great stuff. I don't want to steal any more of her time. I don't know about you. So Shay, let's wake up and let's get her walk-up music because it's really cool, and then we will welcome Kim Sarni. Wake up, everybody.
To get down, I'm not internationally known, but I'm known to rock the microphone because I get stupid. I mean outrageous. Stay away from me if you're contagious, because I'm the winner. No, not a loser.
Welcome to the show, Kim Sarni, and I think you have officially taken the crown for the best walk-up music.
That is some really serious walk-up music.
I'm a 90s rap lover. I mean, my kids and I, we like have rap karaoke battles.
That's it. You know what? And kudos to you that then you took it upon yourself to educate your kids about 90s rap, because it 1000% does not get the flowers that it deserves. So
right.
Awesome.
Well, yeah, we are all genre of music household. So I'm in. And now you know my secret.
So I've never heard that song before. No, I'm just kidding.
Of course.
Wow.
You know how I know that's not true is because I used to dance to that song
I
at
know.
DT Riots.
That's exactly right. That is exactly right. So anyway, so we're fortunate for you to take a few minutes out of this crazy daily schedule. And if you're not following Kim, you should, because she makes me look like I'm standing still. So, the question is, who is Kim Sarni?
It's so funny. I was listening to your open, and in 2019, Mark, when you came here, you said Nudelberg already had the name, so it was kind of one of those things where it was an easier platform to stand on. The thing is, my last name is 5 letters, and nobody ever gets it right. It's like I've been called Sarnina, Sammy, like and I'm like, it's 5 letters,
Right?
and it ends in a vowel. This is not hard.
Sure.
Well, if we're going to get into how you spell the last name, some of the mail I get is like, really?
Oh yeah.
The pronunciation, the hands down, the one that happens the most is the Nudelberg.
Well,
it happens all the time.
So
all
yesterday,
the time
Andrew Koenig, who is the board chair, randomly shouted me out for the influence I've helped on that board. Yeah. And he says, nobody's better than Steve Nudelberg.
Yes.
Well, and to be fair to AK, I'm sure people butcher Koenig all the time. Koenig, Koenig, like I'm sure people get all different kinds of names.
That when people say, "Oh yeah, I know Andrew," and they use his last name wrong,
they don't know.
Look, so Kim, we're here to talk about you. We're here to put the spotlight on you. Give us your background. You've been down here for a few years now, but the people listening, who are you? What makes you up? Where do you come from, and how'd you get here?
Yeah. I came here 2 years ago from New York City. I'm from Brooklyn, and I was at the Business Journals for a long time running a national sales team. And I randomly got a call from Gary Press. And the first thing he says to me is, do you know who I am? And I think I broke his heart that day because I was like, I have no idea who you are, And then he goes, and he was a little caught off guard. He stayed silent for about 20 seconds. And he goes, do you know South Florida Business of Wealth? I said, I don't know you. I don't know them. I don't know why we're talking, and it was really interesting. Anyways, we scheduled a time. He's like, listen, I want to schedule some time to meet with you, to talk with you. And this is all via Zoom. Mm-hmm. And I said, all right, I'll give you 15 minutes. And then I broke his heart for a third time. Right. And then we ended up talking for 2.5 hours. So that's it. That was the entire story of how I came down here. He was very convincing. He's like, don't you want to move to Florida? Everybody wants to move here. And all I kept thinking in my head is, that's God's waiting room. Why would I want to go there?
Right.
Sure. And so I packed up. I lived at the Riverside Hotel for 6 months. My husband was going to retire. He was a detective with the NYPD for 27 years. So, the natural progression would be to move to Florida or get a second home or something like that. I just said, I'm going to do it first. Yeah. And, my son was off to college, and my nephew was going into the Air Force. So I said, this is a perfect time to do something different. So I came down here, and it was nerve-wracking, let me tell you.
So it was a meeting of opportunity and timing that brought you down here. But what was the real reason that you came? What was the chance that you were taking? You had a really successful gig. You were in New York. You were established. Why start over? Why start fresh? Why do that?
Are we allowed to curse on this show?
Absolutely.
Well, I don't know. I don't want to offend anybody. There was no real reason other than fuck it. Yeah. What do I have to lose? And that's like, there was nothing to lose. And, Abraham Lincoln said, never regret the things you've done, only things you failed to try. And so, and I really kind of live by that motto. And so that was really important for me. Hey, take a chance. If it doesn't work, I still have a house in Brooklyn. I could go back anytime. But
so I want to dig into the fact that this is not an easy market to break into. Yeah. I've heard from many executives who I either coached or know that said, this is not a traditional downtown. You go to New York, there's a downtown. You can go and there's a vibe and there are places to go. This is not the traditional downtown. It is a tri-county area that is very divided. It is not, if you're in Broward, people don't go to Miami. And, so it's just not an easy market to break into. The people are tough. They have been burned by, the travelers, the people who come in and out. So you're coming into a place that was really, really hard. And in my humble opinion, you have done it better than anybody. I know we unpacked it a little bit on Monday night, but what's the secret sauce? What did you do here that made it sticky? Because you clearly have done a great job.
Well, thank you so much. That's very humbling. When I got here, I didn't know anybody. I had to meet people, right? And so I was at a happy hour, and by myself, by the way, at YOLO. And somebody came up to me, and he's a well-known lawyer in Fort Lauderdale, and he said something so interesting to me. He said, Kim, if you're not doing charity work in South Florida, you're not doing anything at all. And I didn't understand what he was saying. And he goes, you got to find your passion, right? So I did that. But then also, I started Googling like events, like where do I go to meet people? Because that's what it was really all about. So I would show up, they're like, who are you? Do you have a ticket to get in? I was like, no, but I'll pay. I'm here. Like, you can't send me home now, right? And also the last thing is I'm true to myself. So I'm very honest. Like, I will tell you how I feel, but I'm also very compassionate. So I will help you with whatever you need.
Unbelievable. I think that, meeting people is so important. And I was fortunate that my dad gave me the blueprint on how to leverage LinkedIn to do that in a really efficient and effective way. I think you're somebody that leverages the platform really well. You amplify what you do. Yes, you're out all the time. Yes, you're at all of the events and you're going everywhere, but you really leverage LinkedIn to help you amplify that effect. How did you come to know to do that? How did you come across your LinkedIn strategy? What was your journey into using that to help you build your brand and your presence in the South Florida market?
Yeah, well, I always did this in New York too, right? So it was really important for us to kind of showcase what we do, and we want to stand on a different platform. At the business journals in New York City, we didn't have an actual physical business journal, so everything we did was digital or event-wise. So it was really important to kind of showcase, hey, this is what we're doing in New York, and this is why it's so important, right? But also very early in my career, somebody had introduced me to LinkedIn. And at first I didn't understand what it was. I was like, oh, is that like Facebook for nerds? And that was actually really my take on it. They're like,
it really is. And it really is.
Right. but they're just use it. And so I've always just used it to connect. And then when I realized I could tag people I'm not even connected to, that kind of opened things up as well, right? Because then you're automatically connected to these people. So, sure. I mean, I think social media of all kinds is really important. You'll never see a negative post from me on social media. You won't see anything like I'm having a bad day. You'll never know, because that's not what I use it for.
I think that's part of who you are. I've never heard you say anything negative about anybody. Yeah. And that is, this town especially is notorious for trying to pull people down. As they go further, they try to pull them down. You mentioned a few things that I love. Number one in the strategy is you got to show up.
Yeah.
There's no substitute for showing up. There's no, however you show up, whether it's virtually or whether it's in person, you have to show up. And then this is my key takeaway, and I want you to unpack this. Lots of people talk, man. It's easy to say, I'm going to help your charity, and I'm going to do this, and we're going to do it. And you can almost hear them all the time. You actually did and continued to do what you say. Like Lainey says, the best connector ever. Lainey, don't ever call me again. Okay, I'm out. Okay. But when you get involved in something, shit happens.
Yeah.
And that's the way to build a reputation from the ground up. So go deeper into, because you committed to a lot of shit.
Yeah. Well, I have one rule, right? So anytime somebody mentions my name, I want something good to happen after it. So I don't want like negative connotations. And if there's negativity, tell me. And I will never talk about somebody behind their back or say something I wouldn't say to their face. And I say that all the time. So, you can't put me in a corner, right? But also I've learned to kind of step back. So when I first got here, I was like, yes, I'll do it all. And I was finding myself like, well, I can't do it all very well. Right. So now I'd rather go ahead and do things with passion and with purpose and kind of and be all in 100%.
So can you dive into what some of those passions and purposes are then? Where are you really focused right now, and what are your passions?
So I had the opportunity to sit down with Lori Cellarulo, right, when I first got here.
Never heard of her.
You guys are
Never heard of her.
No. She's a nobody.
There's an up and comer.
She's nobody. And it turns out we're both from Brooklyn. We grew up like on our houses were back to back from each other. Our birthdays are the same day. Wow. And when she started telling me about junior achievement and about what that means and what it means for the kids of Broward County, I was floored. In New York City, we don't have programs like that. So you're just kind of stuck in a rut. And if you come from a certain neighborhood, you're normally just flail in that neighborhood. And so junior achievement is really kind of taking kids of all tax brackets, I could say, and giving them the empowerment, workforce readiness, financial literacy to kind of move forward, whether it's through college or trade. And that's really my passion, my purpose, because I could have gone in a different direction had I not had the will and the strength to move forward. And a lot of times these kids don't have it. So junior achievement is actually allowing them to move forward with their futures.
So let's talk about that. Let's talk about you could have gone a different direction. How did you end up in the media advertising world? Give us that story.
So I was working at this is great. I was working at AOL and I was there for a few years, and my boss at the time is still my mentor today, right? So 27 years later. Awesome. And so I was working in a group called Mozilla. So Mozilla, we founded the internet.
I remember
before
Mozilla.
Google.
Wow. Holy
right.
cow.
And so he was the senior VP of engineering. Like, he was the top guy. And I was his executive admin. And I was with him for 2.5 years. And he came to me one day and he goes, Kim, I have to tell you, the worst admin I've ever had. And I was like, I don't disagree.
You started in admin?
Yeah. Oh, I was a terrible admin.
Oh my God, that's unbelievable. Wow.
And he said, but I'm moving you to sales. And I said, why are you doing that? He goes, because you're really good at convincing people to do things. He goes, you're good in convincing me to do things. And I just think that that's a much better future for you. And I was like, cool. So that was kind of like my start into media. And then I just got into publishing as a Wall Street Journal, CFO Publishing, and, the business journals. And I'm here now. So
there are some people, maybe in my generation, that will tell you that print is dead, or that, the traditional media style business and industry is dead. Don't go there. Don't use it. Don't buy that. Don't be a part of it. What is keeping it alive, and how have you helped South Florida business and wealth thrive in this market?
Yeah. So it's funny. I actually just did a presentation on Tuesday morning about print and why it's so important. Actually, there's a study done by Deloitte, and it said 18 to 35-year-olds actually prefer print advertising versus digital because it's easier for them to understand and recognize. And remember, it's like their cognitive behaviors are so different in print than in digital. For us, we understand that times change, right? So we're not just kind of stuck in this, like print is going to live forever. No, we're pretty smart about that. We have a new parent company now, and they started off as a print publication. And but they've been around for 100 years. And how they've been able to do that is by saying, we are still a print publication. We still do a lot of things, but now 70% of our revenue has moved into the digital side. So we embrace digital. We have a huge digital platform. People still love our magazines. We have 340,000 readers every single month across all 10 magazines. And then we're an events platform. So we are connectors, and we love to connect.
So my question is, well, I want to take it off this subject and ask you a simple question.
Yeah.
Who's Dave Sarni?
It's my husband.
He's proud and in the audience right now and sharing his proudness of you, which is super cute.
Good
and
for
super
him, man. Way to
awesome.
go, Dave.
So you said it again, the word again, we're connectors.
Yeah.
It showed up a million times in the comments already about you. What does that really mean to you? What does it mean to be a connector?
The ability to bring people together and to, hey, Kim, do you know this person? I was like, nope, but I know somebody who does. Let me introduce you. That sort of thing. For me, I don't need anything back from anybody. I get asked to do a lot of things all of the time. And I'm just like, no problem, no problem, no problem. I never expect anything in return. What I ask, though, is that you'll remember me someday. And then when you do, my name will come up. You'll be like, now I want to work with her. And I'm
that's
okay.
really interesting. That's interesting,
Godfather.
Kim. Right. Because the whole idea, and you know this when you run into people who keep score. Well, I introduced you to them. So,
Yes.
it's like, check, please. Not interested.
Well, it's funny you say that because when I
give enough, right, it boomerangs back and comes from, it's not one for one.
Yeah.
And people just don't normally get that. Jen Starkey is one of those who
Yep.
get it. She's just giving and all good things come back, so I didn't mean to interrupt you, but it's such a fascinating conversation.
Yeah.
Because there are those people that keep score that don't win the game.
Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of like when you go to a restaurant, right? And you're with a group of 4 people and then somebody's like, well, I only had a Diet Coke and you had an alcoholic beverage. And I'm just like, you know what? I'll pay for the whole thing. I don't care. It's like, I don't want to do this. I'd rather just give. It'll come back. I'm sure of it.
Well, my grandfather taught me that early on. He goes, instead of everybody squabbling at the table, grab the check and watch how fast it comes back to you somewhere else.
Yep.
But Mark alluded to it in the book. I wrote about the reference in The Godfather. I'll do this for you now, and someday I might come to you to ask for a favor, and I would expect you to do that favor for me. And so we used to call them chits. I'm building all of these chits all over the place, and then if you get the reputation, and this is where I wanted to bridge this to, in 2 years, you have a reputation as a connector. You can't have that reputation until you do it over and over and over again, because people don't believe. People are negative to start with. They're like, oh my God. So it's, the reputation part, is so difficult in a market like this or a market like anywhere. That's, to Mark's credit, he got the name, but he had to build his own runway. You had to build your own runway.
Yeah.
So I want to take it one step further, because I think in order to be a great connector, you have to truly invest in the people that you meet. It can't be surface level. You got to really connect with them in order to be able to connect them to somebody else. That's exhausting. It just is. You're giving yourself to people all the time. How do you maintain your energy in order to be able to do that at a high level?
And we'll go to overtime.
Bingo.
Whoa.
Overtime.
You made overtime.
You made overtime.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I one of the things I do, and most people are like, oh, I'm going to New York City and there's so much energy there. I go back home to New York City just about every week on Friday nights, and I come back Monday morning, and that's how I get my energy back, right? I go and I hug my dogs and my cats and my husband, and I could do nothing.
In that order, by the way. It's
100%.
Thank you, Dave.
100%. And if I can't walk to a restaurant or to a bar, I don't want to go, that sort of thing. So I don't have to do my hair or wear makeup. I could just chill and just, be me and I don't know, get into an argument with my neighbor, and it's okay.
So getting back to your place, getting back to your environment, getting back to the things that make you feel good is how you recharge yourself for the weekend before you get back here and do it all over again. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Lori talks about, you talk about what you do for children with special needs around the world. Share that with us.
So this is a cause that's really heavy on my heart, and it's not based here in South Florida, so I don't talk about it a lot. during 2020, 15 members of my family passed away due to COVID, right?
Oh,
so it was a
wow.
really difficult, well, it's family and friends, my husband's partner. So it's people who are very close to us.
Sure.
And one of those people was my nephew. And he had cerebral palsy as well as he had learning disabilities. And he died March 28th. So literally 2 weeks after this whole shutdown happened. And being in New York, it was really difficult. So my cousins were heartbroken and still are to this day. And so Dave and I were sitting at a bar one day. I mean, where else would we be, right? And we said, why don't we start a foundation in honor of Anthony? Anthony loved keyboards and he loved ketchup, right? Ketchup like with fries. And so now what we do, and so what we have now done is we traveled to 9 countries, 15 organizations, and we delivered keyboards and dried goods and diapers and whatever these organizations needs. And we give it to underprivileged kids. And it's really amazing. We just came back we did it in Morocco earlier this year. We did it in Haiti. It's a really special thing that we do. And it's a beautiful thing. And I'll show you guys a video after this. I'll send it to you. And you could see just how their hearts are touched by music. It's a universal language.
It's fantastic.
So Michelle Portoff is asking for a
I know.
Lori and Kim segment. Soon there will be no Noodlebergs in the show.
The Nudelberg Huddle will
just
soon be the
great
Kim
women.
and Lori show.
It'll just be, and it's the Kim and Lori show, which used to be the Daily Huddle.
It's so awesome. It's so awesome. Well, Kim, I don't think there's any doubt that your energy resonates through the audience. I don't think there's any doubt that you leave impact everywhere you go. You're focused on things that matter. Thank you for that. For the people that want to be connected to you, for the people that want to know more about you, how do they get to you?
You could call me, you could text me, you could write me a letter. I mean, you could ask Steve Nudelberg or Mark Nudelberg where I am. I mean, anyway, email me, call me, text me. I mean, it doesn't matter. Smoke signals are good. I'm there.
There you go.
So if they were looking to email you, where would they email you?
K Sarni at sfbwmag.com.
Awesome. Fantastic. Well, we hope that everybody takes the opportunity to reach out and connect with Kim, because there's no doubt that she will help you get to where you want to go. Kim, thank you so much for being a part of the Huddler in the Hot Seat. Thank you for being on the Nudelberg Daily Huddle. We cannot wait for the
Look at Lori. Lori's already changing the name. Give Lori an
You'll start your own show, Brooklyn Girls. It's fantastic. Kim, we can't wait to continue to work with you. We have some things coming up in October that we're super excited about for everybody. So there will be more to come from the Nudelberg Sarni connection. Kim, thank you so much. Everybody have a fantastic weekend, and we will see you guys on Monday.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, everybody.
Please don't worry about me. I'm about to let my heart speak. My friends keep telling me to leave this. So let's get down to business.